Today I'm going to share with you 10 things that I spend more money on after having adopted a minimalist lifestyle. And these are things that I spend without feeling any guilt, without feeling shame, and that I'm happy to put my money towards. And I'm super excited for this video because I have definitely made lots of videos on ways to save money, things that I've cut out from my life, things that I no longer own or buy. And I think that when we hear the message of minimalism, we can often think of being void of things and removing things from our life. And while I think it was super helpful to declutter, to quit negative habits in order to be able to see what I value, it really ultimately led me to a trap of feeling guilty and feeling shame when it is that I purchased something or when I wanted to buy something. And I think that it can be super hard to kind of find that distinction of, I want to save money, I want to be responsible with my money, I want to be a good steward, but then I also want to be able to enjoy my money. I want to be able to put it towards things that add value to my life. This video is not meant in any way to say that we should just put everything on our credit cards or that we should just go to the other extreme and not spend any money, but rather it's to kind of hopefully share the message that money is a tool. Whenever I think of the way that I spend my money more intentionally, it really adds a lot more value to my life, and I feel no guilt in spending money in certain areas. So today I'll share those with you. But keep in mind that some of these may not apply to you, and that's the beauty of it, is that it's definitely personal to you, to your values, to your hobbies, to your likes and dislikes. We shouldn't really fall into these traps of going to those extremes. And I've definitely gone to both ends of extremes in minimalism, where I've purchased things and I've spent money for the aesthetic of minimalism, forgetting what it really means. And then I've also gone to the other end where I've talked about like feeling the guilt and feeling the shame because I spent something or I bought something, or shame from other people like, and you're a minimalist and you bought this. I've definitely gotten that as well. So I definitely think it's helpful to talk about what we remove and what we want to stop. But I don't want to forget that aspect that money is meant to be used. It's meant to ultimately result in positive changes. And as Dave Ramsey says, money can be a lot of fun. You can help out a lot of people in some very creative and awesome ways when you have money. I don't want to feel guilty any longer for spending money. And there's a lot of things in my life that I've realized I'm happier because I spend money on these areas. And I don't have any guilt or shame in saying that. So hopefully this video will be helpful to you if you, like me, have experienced the guilt or the shame or being shamed by other people. But hopefully we can do this in a way that's more intentional. So we're not putting things on our credit card, but we're actually thinking about the long term, as well as our hopes, our dreams, of things that we enjoy. First up is subscriptions. I really wanted this to be the first one because I felt like I'm gonna sound like a total hypocrite when I say this. And it's because I've mentioned that if you wanna save money, cut off your subscriptions. And while I still agree with that, there are some caveats to that. The way that I think about my subscriptions are one of two different ways. Are they meant to make me a creator, or are they meant to make me a consumer? So just to give you the example, in the past, I had a music subscription, we had Netflix, we had Hulu, we had other things that were meant to make me consume other people's media that really weren't helping me in the long run. I mean, when I would watch Netflix, I would watch K-dramas and really binge watching for 2, 3 in the morning. And for what? Like, it really didn't make me any better of a person. Now I'm happy to put my money towards subscriptions that are helping me to improve in some way, to learn something, to be healthier. So for example, in the summertime, we had a subscription for a gym that had a pool. And my kids love that. I've since canceled it because I like to work out at home, but it was awesome to be able to use the pool during the summertime and get the kids out. I do also have a subscription for Simply Piano, which is what I've been using and what my daughter's been using in order to learn how to play the piano. I'm not sponsored by them, but just to give you an example, this is something that I'm happy to spend my money on for two different reasons. One, I always wanted to learn the piano, but because I homeschool them, I didn't want for them to miss out on something that they would otherwise have in a public school. So I think that subscriptions can be very helpful, but there is that distinction. Are they meant to make you a consumer, or are they meant to make you a creator? Or even just in the example of a gym, if it's something that you are using, that you're getting value out of, that you're feeling stronger and healthier, it's improving you. I think of it as an investment in myself, and all the other subscriptions that are really just meant to make me a consumer, I have completely eliminated. Number 2 is coffees and teas. I have been a huge lover of lattes for many years. I think really ever since I was in college and I tried the frappes and the lattes and the cappuccinos and all those little cafes. I just fell in love with cafes, going to coffee shops and having different drinks. I love, love, love me a warm drink. And when I was kind of starting to remove more things from my life and really adopt more minimalism, I thought about should I just cut this habit from my life completely? And for context, I've never really been addicted to caffeine. I actually always drink decaf anyway, so it's not like I'm missing the coffee. For me, it's the warm drink. It's the experience of having the mug in my hand and sipping it slowly and enjoying and savoring that drink. And I was thinking of, I should just cut it off from my life and that'll be easier. I won't even need any of that. And it's not a necessity, but my husband and I actually went out and purchased an espresso machine. I think it's been like a year and a half now that we've had it. And I'm so glad that we did, because even though we spent more money on this machine that, yes, definitely was an expensive purchase up front, now I don't go to the coffee shops, but I have this habit that brings me a lot of joy, that makes me excited to wake up in the morning. And when I kind of think about why I wanted to cut it out from my life, I think it really ultimately, I have to be honest with myself and admit that it's because I see all these other people that live off their backpacks and need very little, and a part of me admires them, admires that they need so little and they're so content and so happy with just few items. But for me, why would I cut off something from my life that does make me happy, that genuinely just brings me so much joy? So for me, that's one of those areas that I can cut it out from my life, but I don't see a value or reason why I should. I'm definitely going to continue drinking my lattes. Number 3 is books and audiobooks. I love physical books. It was really, really hard for me to actually declutter a lot of my books, because to me, they're just a sentimental item. They're really hard to let go of because I find like they're like gold, they're valuable. People spend so many hours into creating this that I have in my hands, and it's like their knowledge condensed into one. But I have since donated a lot of our books to our local library, and I figure, what an awesome way to be able to declutter this, because now if I ever want to read those books again, I can just check them out from my library and read them again. And in the meantime, other people can enjoy them. But now that I don't have as many physical books, I generally go towards audiobooks or just ebooks in general. I've gifted a lot of people different books that I've loved through audiobooks, especially through Audible, for example, because some people don't really love reading, or they might not really take the time to go through it. And for me, being able to spread that message through an audiobook has been super helpful, because that way it's something that you can do when you're driving in the car, when you're washing the dishes, when you're vacuuming the house. I'm a huge fan of audiobooks, and the platform that I use for that is Audible. And I love them because the apps like Hoopla and Libby that I can have books through my local library often don't have the newer titles available. Audible has an incredible selection of books, and I actually have a link down below for a free 30-day trial, as well as a free audiobook, yours to keep, even if you cancel. The book that I'm re-listening to currently is The Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle, and I love it. Hands down recommend it to any woman who is married or wanting to get married. I just have found it of immense value. So check out Audible, and if you want to check out that book, let me know what you think. This next one is a simple one. We have filtered water. We have a Berkey filter, but we also actually installed like a whole house water filter. It was super helpful because we both, my daughter and I, have eczema, and in the summertime, it just, I don't know, the humidity of it kind of makes us flare out, and in the wintertime, water can be really drying, but hot water for us, it burns, like it hurts our skin. It just makes us super dry, and it was really, really irritating. Her eczema was really, really bad when she was younger, so we installed a whole house water filter, and I definitely noticed that it helped her. I don't know that it necessarily like made my hair any better. I know I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, water filter for your shower, like it's the bomb. I don't know that I really noticed that much, but I definitely noticed that it improved my skin. Like it just didn't feel as harsh on my skin. And then just having a water filter in the home, I mean, you're not buying water like all the time, or buying cases of water bottles or gallons or whatever. So on that end, it can definitely save a lot of money just to have a filter, buy it up front, and then don't ever have to buy water bottles again. I love our Berkey filter because it's very high quality, it's very efficient, and just to me, the value that it provides in having safe, clean drinking water is just so, so helpful. I recently saw a video, and I don't remember the name of the doctor, but he was talking about how for women especially, a lot of the chemicals that are in tap water can affect our hormones, and how our hormones affect everything. I mean, a menstrual cycle is something that we don't really hear a lot about, we don't learn a lot about, and it can affect our daily life. So yeah, taking care of my hormones, my daughter's hormones, just the men in my life as well, is something that I think is very important. So having clean water to me is totally worth the money. This next one is one that I never used to spend money on, and it's in the realm of skincare, sunscreen. In my 20s, I had lots of sunspots, and I used to just do full face makeup because I really felt kind of insecure about them, but I never realized that this was my doing. Like I always thought that they were kind of like just moles that I just had, I don't know, because I had the biology of it. And I went to a dermatologist when I was like 28, and they lasered off 42 sunspots, like moles. And after that, I was very, very, very diligent to wear sunscreen. And I was so much happier having had more of a clean complexion, skin tone, and I wanted to preserve that. I wanted to take care of that. I didn't feel guilty at all spending the money to laser them off, because it was something that made me feel insecure in the past. And now I want to take care of my skin. Now that I'm in my 30s, I realize, man, I never, ever, ever took care of my skin. I would just go out in the sun, full on sun, and stay all day, turn red as a tomato, never put on sunscreen, never put on a hat, because I felt like, well, I'm tan, I'm Mexican, we don't get skin cancers, like it doesn't matter, I'm fine. Yeah, well now down the road, I care about that and I want to maintain my skin. I'm not like doing injections or anything like that, anything major, but I do want to just take care of my skin so that I age gracefully and also prevent skin cancer, of course. So this is something that I'm now happy to spend money on. Next up is nutrition and supplements. This one is one that stemmed from when I was introduced to the vegan diet, and I really started to care a whole lot more about what went into my body and what chemicals I'm consuming and just junk that I was putting into my body. And y'all, I'm not a vegan. I'm totally a carnivore, raised by farmers, not ashamed to admit that. I did clean keto and I shared all about what I ate and what I did, but I do really, really, really value nutrition a whole lot more than I ever did, thanks to having experienced going through the vegan diet and changing the way that I was eating. I was eating a lot of junk food, a lot of fast food, and never really cared about what went into it. And I realized I'm not getting any younger. And even though I'm in my 30s and I feel healthy and I thank God that I don't have any like chronic ailments or anything like that, ultimately, like our bodies are meant to deteriorate, and I want to be healthy for as long as possible, to feel my best for as long as possible. So it's really up to me to be able to provide my body with the nutrients that I need and the supplements as well. So to me, that's an area where I think of it as an investment. There is no sense in making a ton of money and being a millionaire, being a billionaire, if I don't have the health to enjoy that. So I definitely want to, yes, save money, but I want to value prioritizing my health as well, because I think if we can be super skimpy, I've definitely known people that have skimped out because frugality and they just really, really want to be cheap, but then they don't spend it towards their own health and their own body, and then they're paying it back in doctor bills because they're sick, because they didn't want to invest that money in themselves. So this is an area that for me, I feel very, very strongly about. I am okay, not only okay, but passionate about investing money into my health and providing my body with the nutrients that it needs. And it doesn't even have to be super extreme. I definitely shared a video on what I eat in a day, so you can check that out and see what it is that I typically eat. But yeah, nutrients, supplements, something that I highly value. Next up is tools or equipment that improve your efficiency or work outcomes. So for example, when my husband was first starting off in a new job in construction, he felt really guilty about spending money on tools, and he would always want to like buy the cheaper stuff and buy the cheaper tools. And I would always tell him what my dad had always said growing up. And he would say, I buy the expensive thing once so that I don't ever have to buy it again. Not in saying that the thing that's worth more money is always better, because it's not, it's often not, but just in the sense that when you buy the good quality item, when you buy that item that, yes, might be a little bit more upfront, you often end up with a more efficient job, a better done. My goodness, my grammar. I need to go back to school, y'all. A more well done job. And in the terms of YouTube, for example, when my camera broke and I couldn't fix it, I tried to troubleshoot it and I tried to do all that I could to save it, my husband went back and he applied the same logic to me, even though I felt guilty. I didn't want to spend money. Y'all, I'm still in the red. I've spent thousands on this YouTube channel and I have yet to make that money back. But he encouraged me, and he, like I said, he's always been my cheerleader. He said, well, if you plan on doing this for a while, buy the one that's going to last you for years down the road. Buy the one that's going to be able to open doors for you to be able to do a live stream or do whatever. And I listened, even though I felt really, really guilty. I was like, man, I'm spending so much money. And I bought the Sony a7C and I bought a really good lens. And I am so excited about that because I can see a huge difference in quality of my videos now from before I had the camera. And even when I purchased Final Cut Pro, I was also not wanting to do that. And he was my encouragement. He was like saying, this is something that's going to help you make better videos, then do it. And I am so glad that I listened, because when I got that, my editing was so much faster. So I was more efficient and my quality was better. better. Not just buying for the sake of buying, because I'm not like telling you that you need to buy a whole bunch of equipment, because that's not what I've done. I've definitely done my research to try to find the least amount of equipment that I need that will last me for a while. So this is an area that I'm glad that we do invest in, because it saves us a lot of heartache in the long run. But I'm definitely not giving advice because, like I said, I'm still definitely in the red with this YouTube channel. So if you want to support my channel and give it a thumbs up, I would highly appreciate that. This next one is one that I'm very passionate about, and it is giving and gifts in general. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about spending more money on gifts or giving. And it's something that, to me, I really want to talk about this. Not because I want to toot my own horn and say like, oh, Yessie is so giving, she's so awesome. Not at all. Actually, because I was not the most giving person. To me, giving was very hard. I definitely had a scarcity mindset around money. I felt like if I would remove my money, spend my money, I felt guilty. If I gave my money, I felt that maybe that person would want to take advantage of me, that other people would come to me asking me for money, because it does happen. But I am so glad that I've met my husband, that he is just the most giving person. Actually, I think he's second. My mom is the most giving person that I know, but he's a close second. And I'm so glad that he has been just such an encouragement to me in giving, not being afraid of giving even when you're scarce, even when you have little, because when you give, even when you have little to give and you give it out of love, oh my goodness, the way that you receive in ways that are so unexpected is incredible. It just leaves me in awe. And being able to prioritize cutting things out from my life, not spending so much money on those things that I don't need, that aren't suiting me, that aren't helping me be a better person. I don't really do a lot of things that I used to do. That money is now things that I can spend towards helping other people, towards gifting other people. And I'm not going to say the ways in which we've done so, but some of the ways that we've been able to bless other people is just, to me, it leaves me in awe, and it leaves me so thankful, because I wouldn't be able to have helped the people that I've helped if it weren't for having adopted a minimalist lifestyle, if it weren't for having removed those negative habits. And yes, I do want to spend money on myself, and I want to be able to buy things that I want, like the piano subscription, for example, or having audiobooks, but I also don't want it just to be about me, because if it's just about me, then I'm not going to have fulfillment in my life. I'm not going to have that joy, that love, and it definitely radiates into everything. Whenever you give freely, it really just opens up more love in your life, and I think it opens you up to receive more. So giving is something that I could definitely talk about in a whole nother video, but to me, removing other things from my life has allowed me to have more budget in order to gift, in order to bless others. And it's just an incredible blessing that goes right back to me. This next one is kind of relevant to the prior one about tools and equipment, but this is just in general. I spend more money on higher quality items versus cheap pieces of crap. So I'll give you an example. We had this pan that I thought was cast iron, but it was like brushed with something else, and it didn't say what it was brushed with. And after we've had it for a while, it was like flaking off, it was crusting, where I was just left asking my husband, like, God knows what we have been eating recently, because that material has probably been ingested by us. And so we invested into Le Creuset, and I'm so glad that we did. It has your lifetime warranty. It's such good quality. I'm now not worried about the chemicals and toxins that go into my body. It's like the one pan that I'm gonna need forever. So we bought 2 pans, but it's now something that I'm not gonna have to constantly be replacing, because I had kept buying the cheap piece of crap that God knows what I was even eating off of that pan. So I don't buy like the cheap Teflon pans or anything like that. Sometimes when it comes to having one durable item that's gonna last you sometimes even a lifetime, or even more lifetimes, because like in the example of cast iron, you can pass them down, for example, I would much rather go and purchase higher quality items. But higher quality items don't necessarily have to mean that you spend more money, because you can get them secondhand. So you can definitely be creative in the way that you have higher quality items, but I definitely prioritize buying the better quality over the cheap sale item just because it was on sale. This next one is one that I admit I didn't ever really want to spend money in the past. It's local mom and pop businesses. I had never really cared about spending money locally. That was not something that I ever really wanted to do, like the farmer shops and all those things like that. The farmers markets. I felt like they were more expensive actually, and I didn't want to put my money towards that until recently, and we were able to get out of debt, and I really thought of my money differently. I visualize my money differently. I see it as something that can not only be a blessing to me, but can be a blessing to others. And even in the way that I I spend my money. So going to the locally owned shop and helping support this one family versus this like big multi-billion company that doesn't even care about its employees some of the time, I would rather spend my money towards those if I can. Actually, I've recently taken a break off of Amazon, not bashing Amazon, but just because I felt like I was constantly investing in companies I don't even know what they stand for. And I'd rather go into physical stores and help those local businesses. So in the example of my supplements, there's a local mom and pop shop that sells supplements and they have good quality stuff. And I was buying them off of Amazon from I don't even know who. So I would rather spend my money towards helping not only get me the things that I want and need, but to also help those local businesses as well. And yeah, it may be a drive, but I can do it on my way to do something. I get an interaction out of it, and I don't have those boxes stacking up in my house. And not to mention all the waste that goes into people driving to, packing them, bringing them to my home. So I've definitely enjoyed having my Amazon break. And last on the list is good quality work. I think that sometimes when I try to save more money and I'm like having that like, no, give it back. Like I don't want to give my money away, is when I end up spending even more. So just to give you an example, the mechanic shop. Used to, in the past, we would go to these like really cheap shops that would say, oh yeah, I'll charge you this amount of money for your work, but they didn't offer a warranty. Oftentimes they wouldn't even find the problem, or they would fix it and then it would come right back. And now we spend money towards going to the trusted mechanic shops that offer warranty, that are more expensive, but they find the problem, they fix it. If there's another problem, they will tell us up front what it is, and they have a warranty on what it is that they do. So I'm definitely happier to spend more money on the people that know how to do their job, that know how to do it well. And again, it goes back to, yes, I have a need. I need a good functioning car, right? But I also want for my money to be a blessing for the people that are working hard, that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that know what they're doing, and supporting their business. I think whenever we spend our money and see our money differently, when we see that it can not only be a blessing to us, but we also think about the other person and how can our money not only bless us, but other people as well. It's a totally different shift, and it all comes back to you. I think it's definitely true that the things that you focus on are the things that you receive more. And when you have an abundance mindset, when you don't have fear or shame around money, it just becomes so much more easy to receive it and not feel guilt and not feel shame for it. That's it for today's video. These are the 10 things that I spend more money on after having adopted a minimalist lifestyle. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the opposing video to this one, the 10 things that I refuse to spend my money on. I'll link it down below, as well as put it up here somewhere so that you can check it out after this one. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and help support my channel. And subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.